Hi there. I hope all of you are doing great and all of you are in the best of your health. So, most of you, especially in the corporate world, would be associated with managing clients, either internal clients or external clients in some way or the other. But especially if you belong to the business development team, then you know how important, how critical it is to manage clients well, because ultimately your revenues come from them and that is how you run the organization. So in today's video, we're going to look at how do we manage these clients really well, and how do we, first of all, classify them so that we know how to connect with them, how to work with them accordingly, right? So given that context, let me help you with understanding a wonderful framework today. It is called as the performance potential matrix. So what is the performance potential matrix? Here it is. So the performance potential matrix is a framework that will help us to manage clients. But it is not just working with clients, it is ensuring a long-term association with these clients. So first of all, let us try and understand what do we mean, what do we understand by the term performance potential matrix. Okay, so here is the basic definition. Now, this is not a standard definition. This is what I believe it is about. So performance potential matrix is a simple technique or a framework basically that will help us to manage our clients or customers effectively as well as efficiently. So when we talk about effectiveness, we're talking about getting results, that is winning clients, retaining them. Efficiently is with minimum possible efforts, with minimum possible time, how do we go about acquiring and retaining these clients? Okay, that's what we are going to look at. So how do we do that, and what exactly is this matrix? So let me first of all show you how the matrix looks, and then we will explain. So there are two things to remember here. On the x-axis, you have the performance parameter. On the y-axis, you have the potential parameter. Performance is what has been delivered so far. So it is more of a current scenario that you're looking at when you're talking about performance. But when you talk about potential, we're talking about future potential from a particular client. Are they going to give us business in the future? Are they likely to engage with us in the future? That's what we are looking at. So potential and performance, both of these are measured in this particular framework, in this particular matrix. So let's get started. So the first category of customers that you need to look at is what we call as LPLP. Now we're going to look at so many terms here, which are all acronyms, but I'll also explain you what they mean. So LPLP talks about low performance, low potential. Now, what does that mean? Low performance, low potential basically is a category of customers or existing clients which has not been giving you sufficient amount of business. It's just about here and there. And at the same time, even the future doesn't look that promising. Do we have clients like that? Absolutely. We all have clients like that. Currently, they're giving us bare minimum business. Even the future doesn't look that great, doesn't look that promising. But do you give up on them? No. So you still have a method to work with them. How do you work with them? So there are 2 points that you need to remember. They cannot be your first priority. They typically have to be your last priorities. You do not want to engage too much of time, money, effort in dealing with them. Why? Because the future potential is also not that great, including the current performance. So that does not mean you ignore them, but you least prioritize them. So how do you deal with them? What you need to do is to focus on addressing their concerns. Now, there must be some reason why you aren't winning enough business from them. There must be some grievance that they have with you, or possibly there are some challenges that they're facing. Now, as a supportive organization, you need to make sure that you provide them with the necessary support, and at the same time you address their concerns. So continue to work with them, but do not make them your priority, because the likelihood of getting business from them is very, very minimal. Sometimes this might also happen because the company that you're working with is going through a lean patch, or maybe it is part of an industry which is struggling by itself. So there could be multiple reasons why that particular organization may not be in a position to give you enough business. Sometimes it could also be the case that the organization is undergoing a lot of change, and therefore there is a lot of turmoil within. So there could be a number of reasons, but the fact is, from your perspective, especially from a business perspective, you need to focus on them, in a very smart, strategic manner. So do not invest too much of time and effort on them, but at the same time, continue to address their concerns, see where can you help them, empathize with them, and offer support wherever possible. Okay, so that's what you do with the LPLP, low performance, low potential. The next category that you need to look at is what we call as low performance, high potential. Now, what does that mean? It means that the current performance of this particular set of organizations is on the lower side. However, they seem to be having a promising future. Now, again, why could there be a promising future? Maybe the industry that they belong to is on the growth trajectory, or the organization, the client organization that you're working with seems to be enjoying a better market share, and therefore they are likely to enjoy more revenues in the years to follow. Or in general, the management is very good, the financial position looks very great, and therefore they might do well. So when you do your analysis, you identify that these are organizations or set of organizations whose current potential, whose current performance rather is on the lower side, but the future potential is far, far better. So what do you do with them? How do you work with them? This is a typical scenario where you invest sufficient amount of time and efforts. Why? Because the future is great. And therefore, investing in the future is a reasonable decision for you to make. So how do you do that? Provide them with superior service delivery, provide them with things that they need to grow further, because as the client organization grows, you also tend to grow with them. So wherever possible, if they encounter a challenge or a problem, it would make sense for you to proactively identify those problems and wherever possible, solve those problems as well. So these are set of organizations who are very, very promising, and there is a likelihood of getting a major chunk of revenues over a period of time. So identify clients who fall into the low performance but high potential category and support them in particular ways so that you grow with them as they grow over the years. Yeah. Then we look at another category, which is called as high performance, low potential. Now, this is a very interesting category because the current performance of these organizations is very good. They have been performing exceptionally well. There's a lot of things that is happening, which is in the right sense. They seem to be making good moves. They are earning sufficient profits. They're giving you good business. All of that is great. However, and that's a big however, over a period of time, the potential looks not that promising. Now, there could again be a number of reasons for that. Either they are in a shrinking market, or they are in an industry which is in a downturn right now, or the overall economic conditions seem to be impacting them. So what you do, you need to engage with them. You need to motivate them. Especially, you need to identify why they are not looking forward to a promising future. Okay, now this will only happen when you spend time. So you'll have to also invest reasonable amount of time and energy working with them. But at the same time, it's important for you to encourage them, support them, motivate them. You don't give up on them just because the future doesn't look that great. Now, this is also the kind of client organization with whom you do periodic activities. Now, what are periodic activities? Perhaps you could help them in their marketing initiatives, or you could collaborate with them in terms of helping them acquire more clients, because then that will help you to get more business from them, so on and so forth. Okay, so look at these people who are currently performing and over the years have given good performance, but maybe in the future they don't seem to be having a great time, but nonetheless they will bounce back. If you motivate them, if you encourage them, they will bounce back. Okay, now this is especially true because we're talking about business to business. If you have a lot of retail customers, then this framework might not be an ideal scenario for you. But when we talk about business to business, this becomes even more realistic, even more practical for you to apply in your context. Okay, so that's the third category: high performance currently, but not so great in the future. And last but not the least, you have a category which is called high performance, high potential. Now, as the name itself suggests, by now you would have understood, this is the cream category. These are people who have been delivering consistent performance up till date, and they're likely to do that in the future as well. So what that basically means is, if you work with them, if you continue to trust them, and if you continue to engage with them, there is a lot that you can gain from them. So these are your top performers. They are going to give you the highest amount of revenues. What you need to do to maintain them is you need to exceed their expectations. Now, you might wonder, why should I exceed their expectations? Because the fact is they're high performance, high potential, and therefore a lot of your competitors would also be gunning for them, right? And therefore, for you to maintain them, or for you to maintain your business share with them, it's important that you not only meet their expectations, but you go even beyond. You need to go a few steps further so that you're able to fetch business from them in the long run. So that's the category called high performance, high potential, doing amazing business right now and are likely to continue on this trajectory in the years to follow, right? So this is a category that you can never ever ignore. So those are the four categories in general. You have low performance, high potential, which is currently the performance is on the lower side, but they have high potential. You have low performance, low potential, whereas the current and the future both don't look that promising. Then you have high performance, low potential, where the current performance is great, but the future potential seems to be slightly on the lower side. And then finally, you have high performance, high potential, where the current performance is great and the future looks awesome. Right? Now, these are the four categories. You could also have categories which might fall somewhere in between, but generally you would be able to decipher and make this distinction. Now, all of this is great, but how do we work with them? What's the kind of strategy that we adopt with them? So just to simplify things, you could adopt these strategies while you're dealing with separate classes of your customers or clients. So what is the strategy that you could adopt? So let's look at that. So when you have low performance, low potential, someone whose current and future doesn't look that great, how do you work with them? As I said, you cannot ignore them because they're important to you in the long run. So continue to support them. Now, what kind of support? Sometimes it could be giving them extended credit lines. You can tell them you could delay a few of your payments. We are with you, we'll support you. Sometimes it could be training them as well. If you're an organization of strength, you have the muscle power, you can also train their employees so that they fetch more business. In turn, your revenues over a period of time will also go up. So you need to support them. You need to tell them that we are there for you, come what may. That's very, very important. Yeah. And at no point can you completely ignore them. But as I said, they should be your least priority in terms of effort and time and investments that you're doing. Okay. So that's the LPLP category. With regards to low performance, high potential, as I said, this is a category which is defined by a promising future. The current performance may not be that great, but the future looks awesome. So what do you do here? You nurture relationships with them. You work with them. You continue to build association with them. Remember, as their market share increases, your revenues with them are also likely to go up. So build association, build strong connections with them. That is how you will be able to make a lot of inroads. Perhaps it might be a good opportunity for you to connect with different stakeholders in that organization so that you're able to build deeper associations, deeper relationship with them. So you got to nurture your relationship with such clients. Then we have high performance, low potential. Current performance is great, but future looks slightly dicey. What do you do with them? Well, in that case, you got to motivate. You got to encourage them. Sometimes they might have lost their way. Sometimes they might have got a wrong strategy because of which the future looks tight, or maybe sometimes there is too much of competition in that industry in the short run because of which they could be struggling. But that nowhere means that they cannot perform, because they have already performed. They have shown that historically. But for them to continue that in the distant future, they will require a lot of encouragement, support from your end. But this support is slightly more different as compared to the support that we spoke in low performance, low potential, because in this case, it's more about reassuring, it's about motivating, it's about encouraging them, telling them that you've already done it and there is no reason why you can't do it over and over again. Right? So that's the kind of encouragement, motivation that you need to offer. And then finally, you have high performance, high potential. You got to reward them. It's important that you incentivize them, reward them in whatever way possible, because you want to continue working with them. Remember, this is also a category which everyone will have on their radar, especially your competitors will have a close eye on all clients or customers who seem to be high performance, high potential. Everybody wants them in their portfolio. So you got to make them happy and you got to keep them happy, which means you got to exceed expectations, reward them in whatever way possible, maybe discounts at times, in order to retain them for a long term, offering them support in the form of your consulting ideas, your business ideas, whatever best you could do to keep them happy. So this is the cream layer of your business clientele, and you've got to make sure that they're happy with you in every which way. So those are the four classes of clients or customers that you're going to deal with. Will there be other customer classifications? There could be a possibility, but these are the broader classifications. And the reason you need to do this is because it will help you clearly strategize what kind of measures or steps do I need to take as a person from the sales team or a business development team or any other team, even operational teams for that matter, while dealing with each of these categories, because your method of working with them is going to be very, very different, right? So that's the reason you've got to look at the performance potential matrix very keenly and try to adhere to that in your own context. So what's the action? What's the thing that you need to do in order to put this into perspective, put this into practice? So 4 things that you need to do. Basically very simple things, but nonetheless very important. Number 1, you always start with the high performance, high potential clients. These are important for you. So if you could identify 2 or 3 of your topmost high performance, high potential clients who give you around 70-80% of business, it's important that you know them really well. It's important that you have very strong connect with them and you continue to work with them consistently. Remember, it's about exceeding expectations here. So that's very, very critical. Then you look at the 2 low performance but high potential clients. Current performance may not be the yardstick to measure them, but the future performance looks great because they're in the right industry, they have the right strategies in place, and they're likely to do better in the years to come. So remember that you need to spot them as well. Then you look at 2 high performance, low potential clients. The current performance has been good. There is a possibility that future performance might not be as great as it has been so far, but you still need to work with them. You still need to engage, motivate them. And then finally, you have the LP, which is low performance, low potential. As I said, you cannot give up on them. You need to support them. You need to tell them we are there for you. Now, what is important here in all of these is that it follows an order of priority. So you always start with the high performance, high potential, then you look at low performance, high potential, then high performance and low potential, and then finally low performance, low potential. Now, this is a preferable suggestion. You need not follow it word by word. It might differ from your organization to some other organization or from industry to industry, but this is a suggestive guideline that if you follow this order of priority, it becomes easier for you to understand how much time, money, efforts do I need to put in each of these categories. So you start with HP. That's always a better and preferable thing to do. So that's what you need to put into perspective. So I hope this particular matrix, the performance potential matrix, has given you some real core ideas on how to manage your clients. Managing clients is an important skill, an important trait for any entrepreneur or any businessman today. And so is the case even for professionals who are from sales, marketing, business development as well. Even for internal customers, you might want to use this particular yardstick because it will help you understand how do I bifurcate and categorize my clientele, my customers. So use this, and I sincerely hope that this will be of great benefit to all of you. So use this and do let me know how this has helped you and in what way are you planning to put this into perspective, right? So I sincerely hope you do this well and do share your comments, your questions so that we can work on this further together. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let's look forward to the next one very, very soon. Till that time, take care of yourself and bye-bye for now.